Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this broadcast. An announcement from the Ministry of Health. Awards to outstanding students and two more on your domestic. On your international, Nicaragua shuts down 25 groups critical of President Ortega. Russian launches a new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile. Welcome to your domestic in brief. One patient has been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 and tests carried out today at testing stations in the central region as your primary health report. Accordingly, the total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has risen to 9,739. The total number of recovered patients stands at 9,630, while the number of deaths stands at 103. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 21st of April, 2022. Mainafhi College of Science provided awards to 278,000 students that scored higher GPA in the year 2021 to 2022 academic year. At the award ceremony held on 20th of this April, Professor Gebrai Asgadom, Dean of the college, said that the awardee students were from the Department of Biology, Chemistry, Math, Physics, Statistics, and Earth Science, that scored 3.25 GPA and above, indicating that 36.5% of the awardees from the first-year students were females and 52% from second, third, and fourth-year students. As well, Professor Gebrai said that the outstanding results of the female students attest to the growing competitiveness. Expressing appreciation for the opportunity they were provided, the awardee students said that the award will have significant contribution in motivating them for higher results in education. Similarly, FEMA award was handed over to 16 students that scored higher marks in the 8th grade national examinations in Seganeti subzone. At the ceremony held on 17th April, the head of the educational office in the subzone, Mr. Alim Abraha, congratulating the outstanding students for receiving the award and called on other students to follow their noble example and become competitive in their education, indicating that the development of overall capacity of that of youth is one of the major mission of the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students. Mr. Yohannes Gebrameskel, Managing Director of the subzone, expressed expectation that the award will have positive influence on fellow students to work hard in their education in the future. Proceeding on your domestic, Eritrean nationals in the U.S. and Canada contributed 100,000 nakfa in support of 100 disadvantaged families in Godaif subzone central region. Speaking at the event held on 21st of April, Mrs. Tiblets Tolde, administrator of the subzone, indicating that supporting disadvantaged families is one of the noble values of the Eritrean people, commended those that extended the financial support. Mrs. Wayne Mesfin, administrator of Expo Administrative Area, said that the disadvantaged families have been identified by the administration within the areas. The coordinator of the program, on their part, commanding for the support that was extended to the disadvantaged families in connection with the Easter and Eid al-Fitr celebrations, and called on others to follow the noble example. On your final domestic on agricultural report, farmers that are engaged in vegetable and irrigation farming at the Hedai and Mao rivers became banks in the reports that became exerting strong efforts to develop their farming activities both in quality and in quantity, indicating that previously they have led nomadic lives. The farmers said that as a result of their engagement in vegetables and irrigation farming activities, they are leading stable lives and improving their livelihoods, pointing out that they are contributing their parts in stabilizing the local market with their products. The farmers called on the Ministry of Agriculture for support of advice and improved seeds. Up next with your international news on your global report. Stay tuned for more. And on your global report, Nicaragua's parliament, controlled by the allies of President Daniel Ortega, has shut down 25 non-governmental organizations in a move slammed by the opposition as the latest example in a months-long crackdown on civil society reported. The groups, many of which have publicly criticized the government, were closed by Congress on Wednesday with 74 votes in favor and 15 abstentions. Lawmakers urged the NGOs had violated Nicaraguan law and failed to disclose financial accounts. Most of the group worked on human rights issues and carry out social and cultural work. Marcos Corona, who heads the Permanent Commission on Human Rights, one of the organization affected by the measures, said that there is no will from the government to have organizations documenting violations of human rights. Ortega's government continues to prosecute and jail opposition figures and other political opponents in a wide-reaching crackdown that began months before the longtime leader was re-elected for 4 consecutive terms as president in November. Dozens of opposition figures, including 7 presidential hopefuls, were detained in what rights groups said was an effort to guarantee Ortega's re-election, while several other opposition leaders have been forced into exile, often to neighboring Costa Rica. Of these arrests, more than 24 have now been sentenced to lengthy prison time. However, last month's report, the Nicaraguan ambassador to the Organization of American States resigned, commanding the government for human rights abuse and a crackdown of freedom of speech. On your final report, in a show of strength 2 months into its assault on Ukraine, Russia last launched a new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile, which President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday, April the 20th, would make Moscow's enemies stop and think. Putin was shown on TV being told by the military that the long-awaited Sarmat missile had been tested, launched for the first time from Palestique in northwestern Russia, and hit targets in the Kamchatka Peninsula nearly 6,000 kilometers away. At the test of the Sarmat, under development of years, do not surprise the West, but comes at a moment of extreme geopolitical tensions. Russia has yet to capture any major sites since it sends 10,000s of troops into Ukraine on February 24th. Ukraine's defense ministry was not immediately available for comments, however, announcing that Russia calls for a special military operation. 8 weeks ago, Putin made a point reference to Russia's nuclear forces and warned that the West, that any attempts to get in its way will lead them to such consequences that they have never encountered in their history. Days later, he ordered Russia's nuclear forces to be put on high alert. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said last month that the prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility. Russia's defense ministry said on Wednesday the Sarmat was fired from a silo launcher at 1,512 Moscow time, equaling to 1,212 GMT. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Until we're back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. But until then, these are your major headlines for this broadcast in review. An announcement from the Ministry of Health. Awards to outstanding students of financial support to disadvantaged citizens and encouraging vegetable farming on your agricultural report. On your international, Nicaragua shuts down 25 groups critical of President Ortega. On your final report, Russia launches a new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile.